In at 10, Springtrap and Ballora. This is probably the most sane one out of all of these ships, but sane does not mean not cringe. First of all, Ballora and Springtrap are not married like I saw at least one comment but seemingly multiple suggest in the previous ships list. That's not a thing. They're animatronics. And there is no evidence that Ballora is possessed, either by a Mrs. Afton or literally anyone, despite the novels having the fun times be injected with the remnant of the 5 original animatronics. There's no evidence for that in the games. And while Ballora could have been created as a surrogate mother or a representation of a woman that Afton loved or couldn't have or whatever the story ends up actually being, this is still all kinds of weird. Like, what are you people doing? Bro, do you realize that this is a serial killer trapped in a robot suit? Right? Like this isn't just your old run-of-the-mill ship. In fact, none of these are. To put it into a different perspective, you're basically shipping Jeffrey Dahmer with a robot woman. You're shipping Ted Bundy with a fembot, for God's sakes. Like, does that really seem normal to you? Because it shouldn't. In at 9, Springtrap x Matt. Now, I'm not quite sure what this is shipping because there was no way in hell that I was putting that in my search history, but when I looked up Springtrap X, this was one of the suggestions, Springtrap and Matt. Now, I'm fairly certain that this is talking about the Springtrap and the Matt from the Fazbear Frights book Bunny Call, where a video game designer named Matt ends up giving birth to a real-world version of Springtrap, but a load of people guessed or assumed that this Matt was intended to be a reference to Matt Pat of Game Theory, which is honestly pretty terrifying. But now, people have begun shipping the characters, and the only reason this is higher on the list instead of lower is because this is only my suspicion, because again, there was no way in any dimension or universe that I actually clicked that suggestion. No way in living hell would I ever do that. Not if hell froze over, not if pigs could fly, not if butterflies flew out of my ass, not if a dinosaur head popped out of my butt and ate my coffee table. No, not a chance in literally any dimension. And I subscribe to the many worlds theory, much like how you should subscribe to the channel, so technically there should be a dimension where I clicked it, but not this time. No sir. In at 8, Daco meme review. Daco's meme review is oddly enough a meme within itself. For the purposes of this video, let's talk about some of the memes that have come from Daco, like the YouTuber. On September 16th, 2020, while he was watching a live stream for PlayStation 5, he was shocked that a trailer of the new FNAF game Security Breach was finally out. At first, Daco didn't actually believe that it was FNAF, even though it was literally an official PlayStation event, until he saw a cutout of Monty, one of the you know who Monty is. After seeing the cutout, he overreacted for almost a minute and then actually ended up almost fainting. After this reaction, memes started to trend about his eccentricness. Daco also ended up getting into a friendly competition with Scott Cawthon. The two made a bet for where if he played 50-20 mode in Ultimate Custom Night and gave up, he would have to make a game called FNAF 5 where he praises Scott and goes on about how great he is. If Daco won, however, he would have won an interview with Scott Cawthon, and for several weeks, Daco painstakingly streamed 50-20 mode only to constantly fail. However, on July 8th, 2018, Daco managed to successfully beat 50-20 mode, and upon hitting 6 AM, he broke down screaming and crying with joy live on stream. Sometime later, Daco got his interview with Scott, and then this is where the whole, like, we know that FNAF 3 was supposed to be the end thing happened. And at 7, Springtrap and Mangle. Springtrap and Mangle is one of the ships that was suggested the most in the comments of cringy FNAF ships, and I can see why. Firstly, what the hell? Okay, why would you even consider these two to be a good pairing? Second, isn't Mangle possessed by a dog? Like, didn't we settle on this? Like, William used Mangle and Susie's dog as like a remnant experiment to see if he could actually get robots to be possessed? Or have we forgotten about that for some reason? And I mean, like, a literal animal as well. Like, not he a dog, like he's literally a dog. Like, this is borderline Beauty and the Beast kind of thing going on here. Like, what the living f*** are you people thinking? We're shipping a serial killer who only kills kids and a goddamn actual animal possessing an animatronic. Like, I don't know what's going on anymore. Why are we like this? This makes me want to actually leave the community and stop making FNAF videos. Like, why is this a thing? I don't want to be associated with this. So, because of that, we're moving on. And at 6, Springtrap and Golden Freddy. Now, in the previous ships video, I mentioned how shipping Springtrap with anyone was cringe, but specifically the original 5 animatronics, since each one are one of his victims, and a kid. Golden Freddy is no exception. Remember people, since Springtrap is the combination of Spring Bonnie and William Afton, who by all means is a real person in their reality, this means you are shipping this person with the animatronic version of Golden Freddy, which is filled with the rotting corpse of Cassidy. Cause some consider Cassidy to be the one you should not have killed, and while those who think that are wrong, that would only add yet another layer of to this already messed up ship. You people need to stop this. The only way that it could get worse was if he is shipped with a family member that he ended up causing the death of. Oh wait, yeah. It's not on this list because it was too much for a whole number, but there is also a Springtrap and crying child ship that I think needs to be investigated by the authorities or something, because like that's not even like daddy issues, okay? That's mental issues. Plus, again, like the Vanny thing, impossible lore wise. Halfway through at number 5, Gumball Swivel Hand. Gumball Swivel Hands is one of the FNAF 6 animatronics obtained at Stan's Budget Tech for $125 of in-game currency, obviously. Could you imagine if it was real money, like this game was just gonna be one giant cash grab like any mobile game or EA game? Well, Gumball is literally what he sounds like, a gumball machine with a face and rotating hands, which gives it its name. He has a propeller hat and kinda looks like he just drank a gallon of paint. His chest is a gumball dispenser and his head is a bowl full of gumballs colored red, green, blue, purple, yellow, and orange. And from the looks, pink, but it's not listed on the wiki, so that could just be the light reflecting off the animatronic. I'm not entirely sure. I saw pink. I could just be going crazy. Other than the dispenser and the head and arms, Gumball doesn't really have much of a body, only being supported by a pole like any other gumball dispenser. Talk about having a pole up your ass, am I right? And at 4, Springtrap and Sans. You know what? I'm gonna say what I said last time I brought this up because honestly, this is worse than almost anything else on this list. Like, why are you shipping Springtrap with Sans? That's not even a character in the series, for God's sakes. That is cringe. How the ever-loving duck does that work? There are like whole Instagram accounts that I've seen revolving around this concept, and I don't know if you're joking or not. Who thought of this? What made this idea come to life? How many recreational substances were you on? Like, Sans is a 2-foot tall skeleton boy, and Springtrap is a dead serial killer who's taken more lives than years Sans has lived. Like, not really, because Sans is like 2 million years old, but that's even more weird. Like, do you see my point? The balance also is just kind of confusing. Okay, it's like someone who's like really short married to someone who's like 6 feet. It's like a 5-foot tall person being married to a 7-foot tall person. How does that even work? What? Like, Sans would need an actual ladder to have a proper conversation with Springtrap, let alone anything else. Like, not even a step ladder. Okay, you would need like an actual ladder. I wouldn't even bat an eye if they were using one of the extending ladders that fire trucks have on the top. Yeah, this is all kinds of screwy, and besides, at that scale, he's below level too, so what's the point? Getting close to the end, and at number 3, Springtrap and Baby. This is even worse than the Michael one, because not only is Springtrap again the father of the girl possessing Baby and the direct cause of her death, but this girl is also knee-high to a grasshopper at the time of her death. Do you realize how absolutely disgusting that is? When I looked up Springtrap X, as I was doing for most of these numbers, this is one of the first ones that came up. And you know what? That's just wrong. This is shameful. It's even worse than the Michael one. I'm not even joking. Who on God's green earth thought that this was a good idea? And before you defend yourself saying it's the character of Baby, firstly, William designed Baby to appeal to his daughter. Secondly, the only version of the Baby character that we know of is the one that Elizabeth is possessing. I feel like everyone who ships this needs a long, hard talk with Chris Hansen and that Russian guy on TikTok who is catfishing adults with a 14-year-old profile and then scaring them so bad they never did it again. Like, holy sweet Jesus, this is messed up. This is one of the 2 things that I hate the most in the world, and I don't even want to think about how people can actually be shipping this for real. So we're moving on. That's not my, I'm mad about this. I'm mad. Penultimately, and at number 2, I always come back. I Always Come Back was really a meme before the line was even uttered in the series. First being introduced in FNAF 3's trailer with the line, "If he will come back, he always does," and then getting the now iconic line of "I always come back" in FNAF Ultimate Custom Night. Spring Trap or Scrap Trap or Bird Trap or whatever trap he will end up returning at some point or another. And while the meme is frustratingly accurate, I want it to stop, okay? I've said multiple times how he needs to stop coming back and just actually die. It's like the games are a toxic ex and William just for some reason can't stay away because he's getting lonely. But then again, that's what Ballora was for, I suppose. I want Afton to die and stay dead for good, okay? I've expressed this in countless videos, and I feel like a rich mother who's donated to a school that she wants her son to get into, okay? I've made so many FNAF videos that I feel like maybe I should have some input. Like, just kill him off and let me be a simp over the baddie Vanny, please. And finally, in at number 1, Springtrap X Reader. This feels like a personal attack if I'm being frankly honest, because you know what, if I read one of these I would have been the reader and I don't want that to happen. Number 1. This was the number 1 search when I looked up Springtrap X, okay? Springtrap X Reader. And I don't even want to know how that works. Like, I know how it works, but I don't want to know how someone reading a fanfic would end up falling in love with Springtrap, a literal animatronic man serial killer hybrid. What the everlasting sweet holy Jesus is going on with this community? These are the kinds of people who send Polaroids to serial killers who are in prison for life. I don't understand it anymore. I need to take a shower, sit on the ground, and cry for the entire weekend because this is just what? How does one even come up with the concept for falling in love with an animatronic man hybrid? If it was Chica, I'd understand. But Springtrap, he is one of the most Rule 34 animatronics out there for seemingly no reason, because I just want death now. The fact that people are falling in love with William Afton's filleted body stuck with a bunch of robotic parts and I can't get a girl to stick around for more than a couple days is pretty damn ridiculous. Maybe I should finally cave and let this series turn me into the maniac I'm probably going to become, because apparently they get all the girls. And at 10, Chica. Stop, don't even think about it. This isn't a weird Rule 34 thing. This is legitimately because Chica is a chicken, and chicken is delicious. Sorry, PETA. Even if she isn't a real chicken, the character is still meant to be a chicken, so by proxy, chicken would taste normal, right? At least in the dimension where the character originates from. If we subscribe to the many worlds theory, much how you should subscribe to the channel, what a segue, but there is a universe out there where the animatronics that we know from the FNAF franchise are real-life organic beings set on the destruction of humans. And there's another where we all live peacefully. There is also a universe where William Afton is real and I'm the one fighting him. No matter what, Chica is a chicken, and no matter what you say or want to interpret it with your fan art, there is nothing that can change the fact that she is literally a chicken. Her name is Chica the Chicken. It's chicken, chicken is good. For the most part. And at 9, Ballora. Okay, there is no real safe way to say this, so I might as well go all in. Cannibalism is a real thing that people partake in. It's not a thing made up for video games, movies, or TV. People do it. We know that. There are famous serial killers that have famously eaten bits of human flesh. And if Ballora was real, cannibals would enjoy a nice home-cooked meal. On the other hand, and this applies to all of the animatronics, people eat metal. There is one man, known as Mr. Eats-All, who literally would eat anything. Somehow he was able to eat nuts, bolts, screws, light bulbs, an entire plane. Not joking, okay? This dude was a powerhouse. He literally brings his own things to restaurants so that they could add it to his plate. He ate a plane, he would eat bikes, he will finish his wine and then eat the glass no problem. He would have a field day when it comes to Ballora. This guy had eaten 18 bikes, 15 shopping carts, 7 TVs, 6 chandeliers, 2 beds and a pair of skis, a coffin, steel chain, and a partridge in a pear tree. But he can't eat bananas because it will give him heartburn. Literally. Unfortunately, Michel Lotito died at the age of 57 of natural causes. Yeah, this guy ate metal and glass for 41 years and died of natural causes. This list is dedicated to you, my man. And it ain't Bonnie. Bonnie is a rabbit, because Bonnies and rabbits are the same thing, so don't flip your crap in the comments. Anyway, rabbits, while not being as common as chicken, they're still regularly eaten as dinner, on a less regular basis no doubt, but honestly I've had days where my girlfriend has brought home rabbit that she cooked in class. The taste is nearly the same to me, but I don't have that advanced of a palate, but it's literally meat, okay? Food is food, no matter what. Rabbit, while slightly gamier, is also as common as chicken. It's honestly weird that 50% of the original animatronics were actually regularly eaten, almost as if Scott intended for us to make this list. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't eat a purple rabbit, but I mean, if it was necessary and I was going to starve to death, I would honestly not think twice. Especially if we're in that universe where the animatronics are real organic beings instead of animatronics. I'm speaking about if these animatronics were real and not just the way they are with the robot parts and everything. Except for number 6. I said number, whatever. And at 7, Dreadbear. This idea actually comes from the VR YouTuber Eddie VR. Amanda and I have mentioned him before, and honestly I love his videos. However, he makes all the FNAF stands mad by giving nicknames to the animatronics, like how I make them mad when I tell them that Springtrap isn't an animatronic because he's not. He calls multiple characters by food equivalents. For example, Mangle is mangoes, Chica is Kentucky, Springtrap is tortillas, and Plushtrap is Tortilla's son. He also calls Dreadbear elotes, which is Spanish for corn, because honestly, have you seen Dreadbear's teeth? They look like they're straight up a fresh cob of corn. Like, he went through the Foxy maze and just started picking up corn and shoving it down his metal interior until eventually he became a corn. It's weird, and honestly, knowing that it's his teeth kinda makes it less appetizing, but that's why he's at number 7, right? Like, I can't explain why he's higher than Bonnie, because Bonnie would actually be food. Don't come for me, PETA. But I can't explain why he's higher than Chica, you know? Because I had to get you to stay somehow. If you see number 10 and it's not something that will kind of make you open your jaw with either excitement, surprise, or lust, then you weren't gonna stick around for something as ridiculous as this list. I had to put Chica first, but I don't know why he's higher than Bonnie. And at 6, Drink Clowns. Lemonade Clown and Fruit Punch Clown make their appearance in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, also known as FNAF 6. The clowns are basically giant bulbs of their respective drink, and they disperse these drinks with like any drink machine would, but this time it's coming from their body instead of some tank that nobody can see. It's slightly terrifying when you think about it, but it also makes some of the most sense on this list. The others may be iffy, but this one is pretty damn solid. Well, I guess technically it's a liquid, so I shouldn't be joking about that. It's a very important matter. Haha! Look at me go with my terrible jokes and horrifying sense of humor. Oh, you weren't laughing? Why the hell not? We're talking about clowns, aren't we? Clowns are funny and not scary in the slightest. I mean, I see a clown every time I go back to my hometown. And no, I don't mean because most people in that town are jokes. Oh boy, that got aggressive. I wonder what could have done that to me. This lemonade is great, by the way. Thanks, Lemonade Clown. Halfway through into number 5, Springtrap and Michael. Oh yes, like I said, the only way it could get worse was if he was being shipped with a family member that he ended up causing the death of. And here we are. The Springtrap x Michael ship is one of the most horrific things I've ever witnessed. And honestly, even talking about it, I kinda wanna hurl. And before you get mad at me saying William didn't cause the death of Michael or Crying Child, yes he did. He was the one who superpowered the Fredbear animatronic and gave it the ability to crush a skull. And before you try using the whole, if someone holds your hand under a hydraulic press, it's not the person who made the hydraulic press's fault on me, okay? These two things are entirely different scenarios. In this case, this is like someone pushing me onto a fence that is labeled as a normal fence, but then someone came along and made it an electric fence without anyone knowing. In that case, the person who made the fence electric is at fault. Secondly, William, by killing people and causing his son to feel immense remorse, caused his other son to die. By killing people, he set his fate as being stuck in the FNAF 6 location, one that Michael felt the need to be at to ensure his father's destruction, which caused him to be trapped inside since Henry never provided an exit. And you wanna ship them? Knowing they're related. Y'all are And at 4, Shamrock Freddy. Being Irish, I do have a special place in my heart for Shamrock Freddy. He'll never come after me, Lucky Charms. Shamrock Freddy is a skin for the Freddy animatronic that appears in FNAF AR Special Delivery and was added on March 12, 2020, in time for the St. Patty's Day of the worst year ever. His appearance is fairly similar to that of regular Freddy, except being colored entirely green, as you can see here. Oh wait, that's awkward. Forgot I was on a green screen. Well, I guess you'll just have to imagine it. Unless the editor decided to put a picture of it to make me look ridiculous while saying this. The only difference about him and normal Freddy is the color, basically. But why would he be tasty, you say, with the confused look on your face? Well, Shamrock Shake. Duh. I've never actually had a Shamrock Shake because up until like this year I always forgot about it, but hey, everyone who has had it tells me it's delicious and hopefully they're not joking, otherwise I'm going to look even more ridiculous in this number. And at 3, the cupcake. Do I really need to say anything here? The cupcake is its own animatronic, which I am correcting from a long time ago in a list about scariest animatronics or something like that, I don't know. We do plenty of FNAF videos because the FNAF videos do better than anything else on the channel. Like, we know we milk it, but they keep doing well, so we're gonna keep making more. But if you can't get enough of FNAF and love the series as much as us, click up in the top right corner because we have a playlist of almost 90 videos now. It's nuts. Over 13 hours of FNAF content for you to enjoy. But the cupcake animatronic is literally the only pure food item from any of the main FNAF games. It's literally a cupcake. Yes, it would technically in a way be sentient since it hops around the room in FNAF VR while repairing Chica, but you know what? The sentience makes it better. Make it more personal. I want to hear the cupcake scream as I devour its interior and delicious and sticky icing. Damn, this is really good lemonade. Yo, Lemonade Clown, what's up? And at 2, Chocolate Bonnie. Chocolate Bonnie is kinda like an issue for me if I'm being honest. I'll lick the icing off a cupcake and hear it scream as I close my jaw around its face, but I would get a chocolate bunny every year for Easter and whenever I could get one for myself. Specifically, the Mr. Munchie that had the Rice Krispie-like things in it. Not sponsored, but I wish it was. And those rice-filled chocolate bunnies were some of the best memories I have. I love how some of my best memories I have from childhood are about eating chocolate bunnies. Says a lot, eh? Well, no matter, this kind of presents a crossroads. The chocolate bunny is an Easter skin for Bonnie from FNAF AR, but it's like, why does this thing need to be a thing? It's clearly chocolate because we don't see any of the robotic parts inside when looking in the hole on its side, but is it just chocolate? Could I pull a Scooby-Doo and eat my way out of this thing if it catches me and shoves it into its stomach? Does it have a stomach, or like the animatronic equivalent of one? I don't know anymore. It would still be tasty. Is it milk or dark chocolate? And finally, in at number 1, you knew it was coming, Buff Helpy. This meme created by Thominius_ on Twitter is just absolutely cursed. Buff Helpy was made for Daco's Five Nights at Freddy's meme review series and first appeared in episode 2. And since then, it is like, oh god. He made a joke in the video where he pretends to be terrified of it, and then people started sending him tons of memes about Buff Helpy, and it only has since spread from there, leading to Buff Helpy even getting his own spin-off game. Yeah, he even has his own Urban Dictionary page that labels him as a, let's say, traitor to his country who loves stalking the YouTuber Daco and somehow always makes his way into Daco's FNAF meme reviews, followed by the use of the term "in Buff Helpy is best boy." And this entire thing was posted by Buff Helpy Enthusiast. And you know what? Buff Helpy has also haunted me. I hadn't seen any Daco meme reviews, okay? So I was luckily oblivious to this meme. However, people just started randomly sending it to me on Instagram, and since then, it's kind of scared me. It's certainly better than what some other people have been sending me, but I mean, like, it's not the best thing I've been sent either. And at 10, Sky Daddy Scott. Yeah, this is at the top of the list because frankly, this isn't really a meme in the FNAF community, more like just on this channel, okay? But during the pandemic, I started referring to Scott Cawthon as Sky Daddy Scott, since he was in essence the god of FNAF, being, you know, the creator and all that. But this started one random video when I asked him to actually like let me help out in making a real FNAF, and I did address him as Sky Daddy Scott. There's not much else to it. but since then, I've used it many more times. There's not really much else to discuss about the topic. But yeah, Sky Daddy Scott, please put me in the FNAF movie at some point, or even like just as a reference, because I've suffered a lot for this series. Or maybe not, because apparently we're known for getting people mad over the top 10 worst FNAF fan games video, which was very clearly a joke. Like, I don't know why you people are gonna take us seriously after we made the top 10 tastiest FNAF animatronics. This whole channel is basically a comedy channel now, okay? These are all jokes. This video is also a joke. Like, we're not serious. God. I'm gonna make another one of those videos, but then put everyone's favorite fan games. And at 9, Vent Gregory. Gregory, do you see that small vent on the floor? Have you heard of Among Us, Gregory? You need to vent. I know it will be hard for you to be sus, but I know you can do it, Gregory. This meme was all over the fanverse internet over the time, or like after the time when Security Breach had just released and it was kind of resurged when it was coming out on Xbox. The instance this is revolving around is obviously when you're in the stage section of the game where you're guiding Freddy through the doors after he gets his second wind. When Roxy and Monty are pounding on the doors and you can like shock them with the buttons, and then Vanny's watching you and you have a timer, yeah. To get out of that room, Freddy makes his way to a vent beneath you and then tells you to jump in once he pulls the grate off, which in the scene where this meme generates from, obviously. The joke comes from the venting mechanic in Among Us that only imposters could do, which is why the term sus was repopularized when the game went big over in November of 2020, despite the game releasing in 2018. I remember that very well. We were all about Among Us at that point. We even took a break from FNAF to do it, so yeah. And it ate Springtrap and Vanny. Now, I'd like to point out to the jury that Springtrap is a serial killer trapped inside a robot, but also that they do not exist as of Security Breach when Vanny is introduced, since at this point Springtrap has turned into Burntrap. So, for this to work, there would need to be a load of shenanigans, since for Vanny to be created, Springtrap has to become Scraptrap, and then burn in FNAF 6, releasing his soul to possess the hard drive that gets scanned into Help Wanted, that then takes over our brains as Vanessa in Help Wanted. So, for Vanny to be created, Springtrap has to die. Neither can live while the other survives, as the Harry Potter prophecy says. So, like, how on earth are we supposed to ship Springtrap and Vanny when it's literally impossible? This is why I don't like these kinds of things, okay? It makes me think, and it just seems impossible. Like, I don't want to think about the lore implications of shipping animatronics. This is all kinds of cursed, and it actually physically hurts me. I feel physical pain, like someone stabbed me. And it's 7, Chica and me. I mean, this was just a meme for me, in all honesty. This is just a number for me. I mean, to go back to the Tastiest Animatronics video, that video was all for me to make a joke about how Toy Chica was tasty. People have drawn fan art where I am posing with Chica on my lap. I make countless jokes about how Chica and I are the only true FNAF ship that you should be shipping, and it's true. Chica and me is one of the most iconic FNAF memes for me. This is like the best meme in my mind, because Chica's my girl, okay? So stay away. Eddie VR, back up, alright? Chica's mine. You can have Roxy. I don't care about Roxy. You can have Roxy. Okay? Fight for her with Juicy or something, because like Chica is the only robotic female who wants me, and I'm not giving that up. Screw what I wrote in the script, it's not happening. And it's 6, FNAF World. FNAF World is an indie role-playing video game created by Scott Cawthon, and it was the first official spin-off of the Five Nights at Freddy series, and the first RPG in the series, and the 5th game overall, although we ignore it now. The game was released for Microsoft Windows on January 21st, 2016, and on Android on January 12th, 2017, but came with unfinished gameplay and a large amount of bugs. Wonder what that's like. Leading to a bad reception overall, and ultimately the decision to remove the game from digital storefronts. On February 8th, 2016, the game was updated and re-released on Game Jolt free of charge. But despite the re-release, the community still ultimately wiped this game from memory, resulting in it living in infamy amongst the FNAF canon. And while the game is written off by most fans, its secret story mode actually puts the pieces in place for us to find the clues in FNAF 3 that unlock the good ending. So I guess FNAF World is still kinda canon, but this is still seen as a meme and something that most of the community, including Scott, wants to forget about. Halfway through into number 5, Swiggity Swooty. Foxy in FNAF 1 was quite the fast boy. Foxy is unique in the way that he will emerge from Pirate's Cove faster or slower depending on how often the player looks at that specific camera. If the player opens the camera too little, he will emerge faster until he has actually left the cove. Once he does, he runs down the West Hall and into the office. However, the scene of him rowing on the camera instantly made its way into FNAF fame, since we all started making jokes about him running for that birthday cake. And no, I don't mean the kind with candles, batter, and icing. The Swiggity Swooty coming for that booty meme itself was actually separate to running Foxy, but the two ended up combining into one of the most iconic memes of all time, at least in FNAF verse fan world thing. And you know what? Recently, that's how I'm reacting if I see that Chica KFC double bucket booty. So I understand you, Foxy. I get you. Or maybe he was just trying to run away from Roxy's toxic ass. And at 4, you're supposed to be on lockdown. Personally, I think this is like my favorite of the FNAF memes, and one that reached a more mainstream audience than the other ones thanks to the TikTok algorithm. But unfortunately, despite never having talked about FNAF on my TikTok until this point, I still had to deal with this scene from Security Breach where Gregory hides in the med booth while Vanessa yells at Freddy. The meme, however, comes from what Freddy says after Vanessa tells him that he should be on lockdown. They go from screaming, "Vanessa!" to, "But Vanessa, I'm a material girl," and everything in between. And yes, I did end up making a couple myself. My favorite one being, Officer Vanessa, I was just looking up Chica Rule 34. Because let's be honest, if it exists in this world, there is almost certainly art for it in the FNAF universe as well. Hell, there's probably someone on Etsy making like a Chica themed flashlight. And yes, I said flashlight, like as in one for illuminating dark areas, you nasties, and the other one. But you know what, in reality, the meme still isn't entirely dead, since the whole Vanessa one pops up on my For You page every now and then, and you know what, it's kind of annoying. No, it's very annoying. Getting close to the end in number 3, The Man Behind the Slaughter. The Man Behind the Slaughter refers to a series of iconic memes referencing a line from a fan-made Five Nights at Freddy song, It's Been So Long by the Living Tombstones. The line of The Man Behind the Slaughter describes the main antagonist of the series, William Afton, you know, the purple guy? Yeah. With memes referencing the character in one way or another, often by including the line in the caption as backup vocals. On December 4th, 2014, the Israeli YouTube musician The Living Tombstone released a single based off the plot of FNAF 2, where the chorus of the song references the main antagonist, known as the purple guy, describing him as the man behind the slaughter. The video received over 92 million views in 6 years, but with the song now having 214 million views in 8 years. Although I will admit that they still have the description labeling the FNAF series as Scott Cawthorne's creation and not Scott Cawthon's, but oh well. I've even had my own version of this meme where I posted a picture to my Instagram story of myself holding a blank piece of paper and smiling, and someone on that piece of paper put the man behind your daughter. I've never been prouder, honestly. That was like that won that meme Monday or whatever it was. Should I do more of that? That was funny. I should do more. And ultimately, in at number 2, Springtrap and the Puppet. While this isn't as messed up, okay, there has been an awful amount of fan art about this ship that honestly makes me want to yak. Firstly, this is William's first victim, guys, so like, why would you ship them together? Secondly, the amount of art that I've seen where I have seen them with a baby is too much, like a literal child, okay? People, these are robots, and one of them is a killer trapped inside of a robot with no vital human recreating organs existing. So, why are you trying to make them have babies? Please, for the love of everything that is holy, unholy, persistent, illegitimate, dark light, whatever you want to praise, for the love of it, please stop. It's wrong, it's horrifying, it's one of the most messed up things that I could think of. However, it still doesn't top our number 1 spot. And you'll see why in a minute. I can't handle this. Why? Why would you do this? This was originally going to be number 1. But I just didn't want to give the people who do ship this the satisfaction of it being on the top of the list. Because even though that would mean that it's the cringiest ship of them all, they ship the Puppet and Springtrap, so clearly they can't understand logic and they would just see number 1 and be happy. Finally, in at number 1, Toy Chica. Hey mommy! Do I really need to say anything more? Rule 34, baby!